Welcome back to the introduction to the Dongxiao video lessons. We are on our final track for the first section, the basic song section of the text, and we've covered a lot of fundamentals. So to wrap up this section, I want to practice the song, The Sound of Laughter Over the Ocean. So that is the English translation, of course, but this is a very well-known, if not the most well-known song in China. It will be recognized if you play it. You'll probably even get a lot of requests for it, which makes it a pretty fun piece to know and to practice. But the reason it's so popular is probably because it is a very common introductory piece for all different musicians. So you'll find this in guzheng, in guqin, as well as, of course, Dongxiao and the horizontal flute, the dizi. And taking a look at the notation, you can see why. Because the progression is very uniform, it's very simple, and it's major pentatonic. So you don't see that number 4, the fa pitch, or the number 7, the shi or ti pitch. Okay, so very simple progression. We just have that most common scale pretty much in Chinese traditional music. So it makes it a great introductory song to learn. Also, I don't think that this is the most difficult thing that we've learned so far, right? We've covered quite a lot. We've gone over our basic timing, so we have our 4/4, 3/4. We've kind of done a variety of this. We've learned different phrasing, gone over, of course, our breath marks, how to play smooth and legato. We've also introduced sustain, these whole beats, half beats, and quarter beats to give you a pretty good understanding of a good rhythm comprehension. Right? And we've also kind of challenged you to go over a higher and a slower tempo to give you more dexterity. Hopefully you're improving your breath control, improving your posture, and you're getting a little bit more comfortable as you play and hold the flute. Okay? Very, very important to just develop that dexterity and always go back and revisit it. I hope that these songs have been challenging, but they're also something that you go back to and practice, hone, and polish. Because don't just learn one song, move on to the next, and forget what you learned before or not practice it. These are all things that we can go back to and drill and kind of clean up, make more pure in sound. That's very, very important. So I kind of wanted to finish with this song because while it's a little bit more simple than some of the previous lessons, we are kind of introducing that musicality of Chinese music, right? Everything else has been like a nursery rhyme or a basic drill, very simple and maybe a little boring at times. But with this one, we're starting to move into songs. You know, we're starting to move into music. We've covered quite a bit of range with the low and the middle register, but in the future sections, we're going to be moving into a more dynamic range, getting into that high register, introducing more complicated rhythm as well as techniques. So there's going to be a lot more that we're going to cover, but this song is kind of the first taste of that, okay? So it's very simple. As you look at the notation, you can see that every phrase kind of starts the same, right? We have 2 phrases in each line, 4 lines, and that first pairing of notes is often a 3/4 beat and then a quarter beat. So we have kind of that jump. You know, you see 3/4, quarter, half, half, whole, sustain. So it's kind of like that, like a ball dropping. We kind of have that falling sensation throughout the music, which makes it a pretty easy rhythm to learn, but it also makes it pretty lively and pretty energetic. Okay, so it's a very fun song to play. 66 tempo, but we can kind of play with that. I would say going slower makes it a lot easier, but bringing the tempo up actually makes it a pretty lively, kind of happy, upbeat song. Okay. So to review all of that we've covered so far, we're going to practice that song, and if you take a look at the notation, the song will sound like this. And that is the sound of laughter over the ocean. Like I said, really fun. It's going to challenge you a little bit with some of that rearticulation. So we have in the third line, we have some pairings of 6s, some pairings of 3s. just kind of getting you to recover all those basics that we've covered, review everything, and make sure you stay on beat. In the middle of lines 2 and 4, where we have that half note, and then we have a breath mark and the new phrase starts, always remember that that has to be a very light breath. We want to kind of mimic our breath with the song. So we can't take a really long breath. Like for example, if I play that second line and I pause too long, like this, right? That breath is a little too long and there's like a reset and then it doesn't tie together. So we do have to kind of pay attention to those breath marks, but also the progression around it. When those notes become shorter, the way I see it is that breath also becomes shorter and lighter, right? The phrasing is not very long to where we have to have a deep breath and play this very long drawn out phrase where we have to sustain. So you can take these kind of quick, soft breaths. They're very, very quiet. And that way you can stay on tempo, stay on beat. That's really important because you want this song to be connected. It almost has a call and answer response, kind of like that folk music that's very, very common. We have like a phrase and then you kind of hear the answer, right? It's very connected. Like when someone goes, you always have that sensation that there is something left, right? And so if we don't connect those phrases well enough together, then it sounds disconnected, it sounds uneven, and it almost disrupts the music and kind of your expectation of the song, right? So no worries, if that breath is still a little bit too long, we can slow it down. Those first 2 lines can be a little bit slower. Still has a pretty sweet sound to it. I still think that the lively kind of upbeat, even increasing the tempo, has a little bit of a more natural feeling to it. So it could be feels a little bit more upbeat, feels a little bit more like the sound of laughter over the ocean. So sometimes we can take those cues in different ways. You can read through the title of the song, learn about the history of it, read the notation. Often when you get more comfortable with the notation, you will recognize certain kind of patterns and progressions that stand out, and you can kind of take your cue from the music itself. These are all things that we're going to cover in future sections, going over the continuous lesson plan. And this is the end of our free tutorials on YouTube. Of course, you can always revisit these, but moving forward, if you'd like to continue with these lessons, I will keep doing the ongoing series through every song of this text. And all you have to do is join the Patreon and you can unlock that entire series. That's going to be an ongoing recording session, and I hope you'll join because we also have a pretty good growing xiào community in the Discord server. That is free to join, and we're always debating, going over, sharing music. You're welcome to join us, and I hope that you will join the lessons because I'm really excited to bring this music to more people, and I hope that these resources are very valuable to you and your practice. So check out the Patreon link underneath this video, and you can join, unlock those videos, and join us for the entire journey. Of course, the recordings, the G and F recordings of each song will still be uploaded, so you'll have those as a resource to listen to. But in future songs, there are a lot more subtle details to go over that will take a little bit more time to go in depth. So I hope that you'll join us for the lessons as well. But with that, this concludes the basic song section. I hope you guys have learned a lot. I hope these are the first steps of a journey with the xiào, and I'm really happy to be a part of that for you. And yeah, let's bring more music into the world. We'll see you guys later, and I hope I see you in the next lesson. Bye. Get your copy of the Introduction to the Dongxiao, now on sale at Amazon.